Okay, hello everyone. Okay, so the next program in chapter 3 is money counting game. All right, so create a change counting game that gets the user to enter the number of coins required to make exactly $1. The program should prompt the user to enter the number of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. If the total value of the coins entered is equal to $1, the program should congratulate the user for winning the game. Otherwise, the program should display a message indicating whether the amount entered was more than or less than $1. Okay, so this is like a game, and the program is going to ask the user to enter how many nickels you have, how many pennies you have, how many pennies you have, how many nickels you have, how many dimes, how many quarters, and it's going to add them up. Okay, add them up as in terms of a dollar amount. Okay, if that amount is greater than $1, if it's greater than or less than $1, the program is going to display it and say, let's see, yeah. So if it's greater than or less than $1, the program should say that you weren't like you didn't get the exact $1 amount. Okay, if the change that you put in equals exactly $1, then you've won the game. It has to equal exactly $1 for you to win the game. If it doesn't equal exactly $1 and it's less than or equal or greater than, less than or greater than $1, then it should state that you didn't win the game, but it was because it was less than $1 or it was greater than $1. But if it's equal to $1, then it should say you won the game. Congratulations, right? Okay, so let's start the program and it will make sense as always as we do it, right? So the program should prompt the user to enter the number of pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, right? So first of all, I want to store the value of 1 penny, all right? Store the value of 1 penny in a variable, right? So I'm going to say 1 penny, all right? Now you can name this variable anything you want. The 1 penny, I'm going to set it to 0.01, because it's like 1 penny, 1 cent, right? And then I'm going to store the value of 1 nickel in the variable, right? So 1 nickel in terms of, I'm going to store this value in terms of cents, in terms of pennies. So 1 cent, let's see. Yeah, so yeah, in terms of pennies, we can even go ahead and do that. So 1 penny is going to be equal to 0.01, right? So I'm setting in terms of pennies. So 1 nickel, right, which is 5 cents. Right, 1 nickel, which is 5 cents, is going to be equal to 1 penny, right, times 5. Now, if you can also go ahead and just store in 0.05, but 0.01, okay, times 5 gives you 0.05. The same thing. Just because we have this variable, that's why I'm using it. Just so it looks more organized, efficient. I don't know, but I'll store it that way. So 1 penny, 1 nickel. I'm going to store 1 dime, which is going to be equal to 1 penny times 10, right? And then 1 quarter, right, is going to be equal to 1 penny times 25. Now for a quarter, you can also just say 0.25, right? Okay, so now we'll have the value stored here, right? So now let's go ahead and prompt the user to enter how many pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, right? So let's assume the user typed in 3 has 3 pennies, right? So in order to get the penny value, we're going to multiply 3 by 1 penny, which is 3 times 0.01, right? Which is going to be 3 cents. For nickels, if the user enters, let's say 10 nickels, right? 10 we're going to multiply by 1 nickel, right? And 1 nickel is 1 penny times 5, which is 0.05. So it's basically 10 times 0.05, and that's going to give us the nickel value, which is 50 cents, right? It's like I forgot what I typed here, but it's 50 cents. So for 1 dime, if the user type let's say 3 dimes, right? We're expecting 30 cents because 1 dime is 10 cents. So you multiply 3 by 1 dime, which is 1 penny times 10, which is 10 cents, right? So because 1 penny is 0.01, 1 penny times 10, right, gives you 10 cents, right? So it's going to be 3 times 0.01, which gives you 30. Not 0.01. Over here, 3 times 0.10, because that's 10 cents. 0.01 is 1 cent. Okay, so 1 dime is 1 penny, 0.01 times 10, which gives you 0.10. So the user enters 3 dimes, 3 times 0.10, which gives you 30 cents, 0.3. All right. So that's how we're going to store the value of how many coins or how many particular coin that the user type. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and store. Let's go ahead and store the user's input in variables. So let's go ahead and store user number of pennies. I'm going to store this user number. I'm going to type in the whole variable because I like doing that. But name it to something shorter or something reasonable if you want. But I like doing this. So user number of pennies is going to be equal to, I'm going to call the input function because I want to ask the user to enter in something. And in the input function, I'm going to say, please enter the number of pennies. Okay. So user number of pennies is going to basically store whatever the user types, okay, and store it in it's basically going to store whatever the user types here, because the input function is going to ask the user this question, and then it's going to allow the user to type in something. Whatever the user types is going to be stored in user number of pennies. But the thing is, the input function always returns a string. So even if the user types in 5 pennies, right? 5 pennies is not going to be stored here as a number. It's going to be stored as a string, right? So we need to convert it to a number so we can use it, because we can't use strings in calculation. We can't really do that. In Python, you can in some way. You can actually multiply a string, but we don't want to do that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about actual math. So we have to convert what the user types into an integer so we can use it. Into an integer so we can use it. So we can't really use a string. So before we can use whatever the user types, we have to convert it into an integer so we can go ahead and use it. So I'm surrounding everything that the user has typed with an int function. All right, and then passing in whatever the user has typed as an argument. All right. So it's basically going to convert everything that the user has typed into an integer and then store it in user number of pennies. I'm going to do the same thing for the rest for number of nickels. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this, and I'm going to save this as user number of nickels. And this is going to store the number of nickels, okay, just the number of nickels. If you have 3 nickels, then you have 15 cents, right? Because each nickel is 5 cents. 5 times 0.01 is 5 cents, right? Okay, so user number of nickels is going to store the nickels converted to an integer, because everything that the input function returns is a string. So now this is going to read, please enter the number of nickels. I'm going to do the same thing for dimes. So user number of dimes is going to be equal to over here, please enter the number of dimes. And I'm going to do one more for pennies. I mean, not pennies, because I pasted it, so I said pennies. User number of quarters, right? So please enter the number of quarters, right? Quarters. All right. So now by the time this code runs, we'll have the values, what the user typed, or what the user type stored in these variables, right? But to get the penny value, and what I mean by penny value is this: if the user types in, I have 5 pennies here, the penny value is going to be 5. Okay, this is just the number of pennies. 5 times 1 cent, which is going to give you 5 cents. That's the 5 cents is going to be the penny value. If the user types in 3 nickels, right? 3 nickels is just the number of nickels. The nickel value now is going to be 3 nickels times 5 cents, because now 5 times 1 penny is 5 cents. Each nickel is 1 nickel is 5 cents. So if they have 3 nickels, we are multiplying 3 by the price of each nickel, or the value of each nickel, which is 5 cents, and it's going to give us 15 cents. So that's what I'm going to be calling those variables, the value. All right. So this is just a number of pennies, and we're going to have penny value, which is going to be how many particular coins the users have times the value of each coin in that, or the value of each coin of that particular denomination, or that particular denomination, whether it's penny, nickel, dime, or quarter, right? I hope you understand. So now we have the value stored in these variables, so we can go ahead and calculate the value, right? So first, let's go ahead and create user. We want to calculate the user. We want to calculate the let's see. Yeah, we want to calculate the user penny value, right? Or let's say pennies value. We can do that. User pennies value is going to be equal to the user number of pennies, right, times 1 penny. Okay, that's going to be the user pennies value. We're going to calculate the nickel value, right? So the user nickel's value. User nickel's value is going to be equal to the user number of nickels. Times 1 nickel, right? So 1 nickel is going to be 5 cents, right? 5 cents. All this is in terms of cents. It's going to be 5 cents times the number of nickels. If they have 3, it's going to be 3 times 5 cents, which is going to give us 15 cents. All right. So let's go ahead and calculate now the user dimes value, right? User dimes value. And that's going to be equal to the user number of dimes times 1 dime. And then now we're going to go ahead and create the user quarter value, or quarters value. It's going to be equal to user number of quarters, right? Oh, I spelled this wrongly. It's quarter, like quarters. There's an R here. There's an R here. Okay. So user number of quarters, right, times 1/4, like that. And then now we have the value stored in here. And so what we want to check is if all of these variables added up is equal to $1, then the user has 1, and then we congratulate the user, right? If the user if the total of all these is not equal to $1, then we should display that you didn't get to $1, but we should explain that we didn't get to $1 because this was less than $1, or this was over $1, and display the amounts, right? Because over here it says if the total value of the coins entered is equal to $1, the program should congratulate the user for winning the game. Otherwise, the program should display a message indicating whether the amount entered was more than or less than $1. Okay, so let's do that. So before we do that, we have to basically calculate the total, right? We have to create a variable for that. Right, so I'm going to come up over down here. I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it user money to let's see. I'm going to go ahead and use the full the full name. I want to create a long name. So user money total value. Okay, you can create this. You can name this however you want it, as long as it makes sense to you. That's fine. But I'm doing this just for clarity, and I like to do that too when I'm writing programs. So user money total value is basically of all the coins that you typed, what's the total value of all of them, right? So user money total value is going to store that. So user money total value, all right, is going to be equal to user pennies value, right, plus user nickels value plus user dimes value, okay, plus user quarters value. Now I don't want to exceed sorry about that. I don't want to exceed this line. Let me just take this away. This line sorry for that. This line over here is like a guideline for me not to exceed 80 characters on a line. Okay, I don't want to exceed 80 characters on a line. It's like a guideline. It's like a Python standard to keep at most 80 characters on a line. right? So this line is a guideline for me. So I'm going to break this line onto the next line. So over here after this plus, I'm going to break it. But before you break any line in Python, you have to type the backslash, and then you hit enter and break it. I'm just going to move this here like that. I just do that. It's fine. Okay, like this. Okay, so now we'll have the user money total values. We have like the total of that a user typed stored over here. User money total value, right? Okay, the total of all the coins that the user typed stored over here. So now we can go ahead and compare with $1, right? We can go ahead and compare. We can say this. We can say if, oops, no parentheses. So if the user money total value is equal to, now I'm using double equals to for comparison, right? I'm not using, if I use 1 equal to, first I say 1. If it's equal to $1, I'll now say 100, just like $1. If the user money total value, right, is, if I do one equal sign, if I do is equal to 100, then I'm assigning 100. I'm going to change the value of user money total value. Okay, I'm changing the value from whatever it is to 1, and this will result to true because this right now the way it is, you're asking, were you able to assign 1 to user money total? That's what it's asking. But if you use 2 double equals, now you're asking, is 1 equal to the value or what is stored in user money total? Okay. So if user money total is equals to $1, then let's go ahead and print congratulations. You have won the game, right? Let's see. Yeah, so congratulations. You have won the game. I'm even going to continue and say because your money value off. Now I'm going to concatenate. I don't want to exceed this line, so I'm going to break it. I'm going to type the backslash first and hit enter and continue. So congratulations, you have won the game because your money value, okay, I don't want to do that because your money, I'll break it again, value off, right? And I'm going to delete this and I'll break it somewhere here. Close the string, open the string for this string here, concatenate them with a plus sign. Before I break the line, I type a backslash and hit enter. Bring this back. Okay, so congratulations, you have won the game because your money value off, and I have the value. I have your money value stored in user money total value. So your money value off, user money total value, and I'm going to continue the string and say is equal to $1, right? And since this is going to be a dollar amount, but we're going to format it later on, right? Okay, so that's the case where the user money total is equal to $1. Now, if it's not equal to $1, I'm going to create an else statement here. Else means that the user money total is not equal to $1, right? So this is when the user money is equal to $1. If it's not equal to $1, else, okay, that's what's going to fall in the else block. So else, then do what's in this block, right? If it's not equal to $1, else do what's in this block. So else, now you want to check to see if in that else block you want to check to see if the user money total value. We want to see if it's less than $1 or if it's greater than $1 because we want to display different messages for both cases. So else if user money total value is equal to, I'm using double equals to, sorry, not equal to, sorry, is less than 1.00, meaning if it's less than 1.0, not double equals to, if it's less than 1.00, I was looking at this, that's why. So if the user money total value is less than 1.00, then we want to go ahead and print this, a different statement and say this. Let me just go ahead and do that. Print, and I'll say that you, too bad. No, not too bad. You just say, you didn't win the game because your money value, right, off. Now I have your value stored in user money total, right? I'm going to concatenate this, but I know I'm going to exceed this, so I'm just going to go ahead and break this here. But before I break it, I type backslash and hit enter. You didn't win the game because your money value off, and I have your value stored in user money total, right? So I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. Because your money value of user money total, I'm going to continue the string, is less than $1, right? And that's going to be true if the user money total is less than $1. Now, if it's not less than $1, right, then that means it's either equal to $1, right? But over here, we've already ruled it out. We've already ruled out that, you know, it's if it manages to get to this else part, then we've already ruled out that it's equal to $1, right? If it's equal to $1, this is what's going to happen. If it's not equal to $1, it's going to branch to this else part. So by the time we branch into this else part, we've already ruled out that it's equal to $1. So if it's not equal to $1, and if it's not less than $1, then that means it's greater than $1. So I can go ahead and just use it else, because that's the only condition that's going to hold. Because it wouldn't be equal to $1. Sorry. If it's not less than if it's not equal to $1 over here, it's going to branch here. If it's not less than $1, then that means it's greater than $1. Right? So that means that else that's going to be the else part of these two conditions, because if none of these are true, then this is the only thing that can hold, right? Or you can also go ahead and explicitly state that else if, but in this case it's going to be not else if is LF, the LF equivalent in other languages. So LF, the user money total, right, is greater than $1. You can also go ahead and be clear about it and state it in an explicit manner that if user money total is greater than $1, right? But I'm going to go ahead and use the else. You know what? I'll use the LF. I'll use the LF just to be explicit. So LF user money total value is greater than $1. Okay, then let's print the opposite of this. So colon here. And 10. Okay, and we're going to print. I think I'm not indenting this really well. I mean, it's the same thing, but it's all right. So we're going to print. You didn't win the game because your money value of user money total is not, but this time not less, but is more than $1. Because this is only going to happen when it's only going to happen when user money total value is greater than $1, right? And we're done. We're done. So this also works. If it's not equal to $1, then that means it's less than $1. Then that means it's less than $1 or greater than $1. If it's not less than $1, then that means it's greater than $1 over here, right? So by using the elif, we've stated clearly the condition. If we didn't state the condition clearly and we use else, if it's not equal to $1, then that means it's less than or greater than $1. If it's not less than $1, then if we use else, then that definitely means that user money total value is greater than $1. So if we use else, it would have worked also. All right. So now let's go ahead and run the program and test it to see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and debug this, and I'm going to save it in the folder where I save all the Python files. So desktop. And I'll create a folder for money counting game. And then I'll create the Python file for money counting game as well. .py. And I'll save it. Sorry for the cough and all that stuff. All right. Let me just put some colons here just so we can see the difference. Okay, so yeah. So let's stop this debugging again. All right, so please enter the number of pennies. I'm going to enter 10 pennies. You know what? Let's see. Yeah, 10 pennies. That should give me 10 cents, right? So I'm going to hit enter. Please enter the number of nickels. I'm going to enter 2 nickels, right? So that's 2 5 cents, right? So that's going to be 10 cents. So now I have a total of 20 cents. Hit enter. please enter the number of dimes. I'm going to enter 5. I'm going to enter 6 dimes, so that's going to be 6 times 10 cents each, which is going to be 60 cents. So I have 60 cents plus 10 cents over here, which is 70 cents, plus another 10 cents over here, which is 80 cents, right? Hit enter for the quarters. I'm going to enter 1. So I have 80 cents plus 25 cents, which is 1 quarter, and I should have $1.05. So it should say, because $1.05 is greater than $1, it should come here and say you didn't win the game because your money value of $1.05 is more than $1. So I'm going to hit enter. Oops. Okay, so it doesn't know over here. It doesn't know what 1 quarter is. Like I didn't add the R over here. So user quarters value is equals user number of quarters times 1. I didn't over here. I declared it as 1 quarter with an R, but over here I'm using 1 quarter or whatever. I didn't add an R, so that's why it's complaining. So I'm going to use this 10261. All right, I'm going to use this again. I'm going to debug it. 10 to. Okay, one more thing before I run out. I just realized it. Over here, it's going to complain that if you try to concatenate, in this case, it's going to be a double, right? No, it's going to be a float. Right, over here, if you try to concatenate a float to a string, it's going to complain and say that it cannot convert a float to a string implicitly, right? So that means we have to do it ourselves. We have to do it explicitly, right? We have to go ahead and convert this to a string ourselves. So I'm going to go ahead and call the str function and surround user money total with parentheses. So I'm basically converting the value here to a string, right? I'll do the same thing for this one. Convert it to a string. And I'll do the same thing for this one as well. So str, and I'll convert that to a string. And again, I'm exceeding the 80 characters to this. So I'm going to go ahead and break it here by typing. Before I do that, I type a backslash and hit enter. So yeah. So now this should be fine. So I typed in 10261, right? So I'm going to debug this and type in 10261. All right, so 10 cents, 2 nickels, which is 20 cents, 6 dimes, which is 60 cents, plus 20 cents is 80 cents, 1 quarter, which is 25 cents. So 80 cents plus 25 cents gives me $1.05, right? So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And again, it's having a problem. All right, but name user quotas value is not defined. Again, I did the same thing, same error here. Over here, I declared it as user quotas value with an R, but I type over here user quotas value. There's an R here, right? There's an R here. Let me look through just to make sure there's none. I think it's good. I think it's good, but if we encounter it, we'll fix it. So 10261. 10261. And I'm going to hit enter. So $1.05 is more than $1. Okay. You didn't win the game because your money value of 105 is more than $1. Right. I'm going to go ahead and type. I'm just separate this with a line break so that it makes sense, or so that we can see the difference between the questions and the output or the answer. So I'm going to these are the questions. So before it displays this value, I'm going to type in is the print function empty. Now, if you type in something like this, if you type in a print statement with a string like this, it's going to go ahead and print the string and end it with a new line. After it prints the string, it's going to take the cursor to a new line. So anything that follows the string is going to display on the next line, right? So basically, it creates a new line after this string is displayed. It takes the cursor to the new line. So everything that follows this string is going to appear after the next, or after this line, on the next line. Okay, so if you call the print function without typing anything in there, you're basically printing nothing, but it's still going to take the cursor to the new line. All right, so this is basically going to create a new line. It's going to create an empty line because you're not printing anything on that line. You create that line, printing nothing on that line, but you've taken the cursor also to the next line. So you're basically creating an empty line. So basically, there's going to be an empty line between these 4 questions and the output. So let's try it. 10261, right? 10261, and hit enter. So that's the new line we have. You didn't win the game because your money value of 105 is more than $1, right? So let's go ahead and format it so it looks good. Instead of using the str, right, let's go ahead and use the format function. Now remember, okay, so let me finish this and it will make much more sense. So let's go ahead and format this value. Let's see. We can go ahead and format it here, or we can go ahead and format it here. But since I started here, I'll just format it here. So take this back. All right, so I'm going to format this. All right, the format function, format function takes two arguments. First, it takes what you want to format, right, and how you want it formatted. So this is how I want it formatted. Since the user money total value is a float, okay, I'm going to type in F. So basically, I'm formatting this number as a float, and I want it formatted to 2 decimal places, right? So 0.2, 0.2 decimal places like this. 0.2 is the precision. It comes before the F, which is the type, and I want to also precede that value or that dollar amount with a dollar sign, right? So it's going to look like a dollar amount. So I'm going to do the same thing for this. I'm going to change str to that, paste it, and precede it with a dollar sign. Yeah, and I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Format user money total. Okay, and I'm going to change this $1 so it looks like a real dollar, just so we are consistent. Put the dollar sign in front of it. Put the dollar sign in front of this. Move this. And just 2. Okay, so now remember I said that you can't concatenate just a float variable to a string. You can do it, but then Python is going to complain that it cannot convert the float to a string and then concatenate it to the string. So that means we have to do it ourselves. And we did it with the str function. Now, the format function is not going to complain because the format function returns a string. Okay, when this formats this value to a dollar amount or to 2 decimal places as a float, it's going to be returned as a string. So now basically you're concatenating this string to the return value of this format function, which is also a string, right? So yeah, so it's not going to complain. One more thing with the formatting. We wanted it formatted as a float to 2 decimal places, right? But if I put a comma here, it's going to automatically put commas where necessary. So if that dollar amount, right, is, let's say, it won't happen in this case, but this is the proper way to format a money value. If, let's say, the money value, okay, the total value was, let's say, $1 million or 1 million, it's going to, because I put a comma before the precision and the type, all right, before the precision and the type, because I put the comma there first, it's going to put commas where necessary. So instead of just printing 1000000, it's going to print 1,000,000. It's going to automatically put commas where necessary. I'm going to do the same thing for this one and do the same thing for this one. Now again, in this case, it's not really going to be a problem because we're only dealing with I mean, we can actually, if the user enters a lot of pennies, a lot of quarters and all that. So it's good. It's good we are doing this, but this is the right way to format a dollar amount, right? A dollar value. So let's try this. I'm going to debug this and see if we don't fall into any errors. So 10,261, I believe is what we tried, and hit enter. Okay, so now we're seeing it's formatted as a decimal, right? So you didn't win the game because your money value of $1.05 is more than $1. Let's try something little, right? For pennies, let's type 10. So now we have 10 cents. For nickels, let's type 1 nickel. So now we have 15 cents because 10 cents plus 5 cents, we have 15 cents. Please enter the number of dimes. Let's enter 2 dimes, which is 20 cents because 2 dimes is 20 cents. So 20 cents plus 1 nickel, which is 5, which is 25 cents, plus 10 pennies, which is 10 cents. So 25 cents plus 10 cents. Now we have 35 cents. And then let's enter 2 quarters, right? Now 2 quarters is 50 cents, right? So we have 50 cents here plus 2 dimes, which is 20 cents. So 20 cents plus 50 cents is 70 cents, plus 1 nickel, which is 5 cents. So 70 cents plus 5 cents is 75 cents, plus 10 pennies, which is 10 cents. 75 cents plus 10 cents, we have 85 cents. So I'm expecting it to say you didn't win the game because your money value of 85 cents is less than $1. So I'm going to hit enter, and it got it. You didn't win the game because your money value of 85 cents is less than $1. Now let's try something that's equal to exactly $1, right? So I'm going to run it. So pennies, I'm going to enter 10. So we have 10 cents. Please enter the number of nickels. I'm going to enter I don't know, let's 1 nickel, which is 5 cents. So we have 15 cents now. And for a number of dimes, I'm going to enter let's see 20. I'm going to enter 2, right? So 15 plus 15 cents plus 20 cents, it gives us 35 cents, right? Let's see. I'm trying to make it be exactly $1. So let me just debug this again and then put in right values. So let's just do 2 quarters. All right, so let's do 15. Let's do 15 pennies, which is going to be 15 cents. Let's do 2 quarters, right? 2 nickels, which is going to be 10 cents. So 10 plus 15 is going to be 25 cents. For dimes, let's enter. Over here, yes, 10 plus 15 is actually not, 25 cents. 25 cents, right? And again, I'm trying to, again, I'm messing up with this. So let's see, okay, let's do 20 pennies, right? 20 pennies, so it gives us 20 cents. Let's do 1 nickel, gives us, so we have a total of 25 cents. Let's do 2 dimes. Again, I messed up. All right, sorry. I don't know why I'm thinking about this. I'm thinking about it correctly, but I'm just messing up with the numbers. All right, so let's do 20 pennies. All right, so this is going to work. 20 pennies. I'm just trying to get everything to $1. 20 pennies, which is 20 cents, plus 2 nickels, which is 10 cents. So 20 plus 10, we have 30 cents so far. Let's do 2 dimes, which is going to be 20 cents. So 20 cents plus 30 cents, we have 50 cents. And let's do 2 quarters, which is 50 cents. So 50 cents plus 50 cents, we have $1. And hit enter. And now it says, congratulations, you have won the game because your money value of $1 is equal to $1. I don't think we formatted that, did we? Congratulations, you have won the game because your money value of format user money total value. We didn't put the $sign in front of it, that's why. Yep, so 2222. All right, so let's just try one last time. 2222. Congratulations, you have won the game because your money value of $1 is equal to $1. All right, so this program works. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And take care of yourselves. If you comment down below, I'll do everything to respond to them. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next program. All right, bye-bye.